was more than 2,600 years ago when the Buddha was born. And here, yes, Lumpini, now in northern Nepal, formerly was part of India. And what we mentioned just now was that the birth of the Buddha was the culmination of the result of in these others. This is what the 10 perfections and the practice of generosity. And this is why you see the Wesak celebration of various Buddhist temples. They will do offerings of food to the Lord, serving, they will do all sorts of expressions of generosity. And they also see morality, serving precepts, and renunciation, wisdom, and these are all the 10 perfections. And this is how the Buddha he was challenged during his time. There were other religious philosophers and all that they challenged him, they criticized him, and they even tried to kill him. But what did he do? No violence. Just by the act of using this what of a Satchakriya, by the act of truth, just determined by the truth of his practice, the perfection of his practice, for the result. That is how the Buddha which step we take today? Fantastic. Adhisthana is the determination. Outside, you see the Bodhi tree. We have planted the Bodhi tree. Here is more Bodhi tree. And that Bodhi tree reminds us of the great determination. The Buddha, when he came to the Bodhi tree, he made a firm determination. I will not give up from the sin. Even if my blood dry up, my flesh wither away, I will sit until I realize the truth. That is how he realized. That's why the Bodhi tree is there. And this Bodhi tree is very special. Archbishop and all the other religious systems, they have come to bless this Bodhi tree. Actually, the Bodhi tree is mentioned in the Quran. And my good friend, Professor in charge Yusuf says, in the verse 95 from the Quran, where it is mentioned the fig tree, right? In other words, Prophet Muhammad actually recognized that there were other prophets before him. And the Prophet referred to the what he called referred to fig tree or Bodhi tree, that's the Buddha. And the name Zulkifli is actually the pronunciation, the Arabic pronunciation of Kilamastu, the birthplace of the Buddha. Yeah. That is according to yes, that's right, according to scholars. Yeah. So this is how, and yes, the Buddha was married, and here Yashodhara, because from very young age, from the time he was born, he had a sage to predict, to look at what about his horoscope and his astrologer, that he would either become the sage, what you call the prediction was, he would either become a universal monarch, Chakravati, or he will become a great religious spiritual teacher. So the king tried to protect him in various ways so that he does not become a religious teacher, become a Chakravati. Yeah. And that is why they arranged the marriage when he was 16 years old. Yeah. But after that, he went out and then, and he saw, after seeing the sight of a woman, sick man, dead person, these three signs. Now all of us have seen old people. All of us have seen sick and dead people. But what thoughts came to our mind? What sort of thoughts that arose in our mind? In the case of the Dhammaduta, when he saw this sign, he contemplated that he will grow old for a second time. His wife Yashodhara will grow old for a second time. His parents and his kinsmen will. Then, as he was thinking again and again, he made a firm determination that he will find out a way how to overcome his sickness and death, to have all his nerves. That is how. And just as he thought that as he made that kind of determination, what happens is, on his way back to Paris, he saw a messenger. This was a cue which was giving the idea that this could be the way. Because even before the time there were messages that people practicing Buddhist then that is how the Buddha decided to become. Yes, that's this one I'm not sure. But the birth, the 9 yes. Now, this interesting thing is when he renounced, of course there were no gilets bread at that time. So they used a sword just to cover himself. Because in India at that time, your ranking position all depends on the head here and there. So he had as a place of what he did was he just removed his hand. And then he made a determination. If I'm able to attain enlightenment, let his head not fall. And he took his head and showed his head. That's it. And that head is given Wesak in the heaven. But you see, when he was born, and the same time he was born, after the was also born. This is the enlightenment of Buddha. As I mentioned earlier, three words the enlightenment on the night of the full moon of Wesak, full moon day of Wesak. That's 15th day of After 6 years of austere practice in forest mountain caves in Putrajaya, in Bihar, in India, northern India, he attained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree in Putrajaya. On the night of his enlightenment, he saw very clearly his past lives, one after the other. And then he saw how beings die, according to their karma, how they die and how they take rebirths. Seeing his own past lives and the lives of other beings, then he saw how existence is fraught with suffering. Then another insight arose in him. He saw how suffering arises and how suffering ceases. And this is, he thought in terms of what he realized on the night of his enlightenment. He taught in the first sermon that Sarna, in terms of four noble truths, that there is suffering, there is the cause of suffering, there is an end to suffering, and there is the way to end suffering. These are what we call the four noble truths, and they encapsulate the universal peace message of Buddha. When we are sick, we visit our GP, our doctor, physician, and the doctor will first of all identify the problem, the sickness, and he will try to find the cause of the problem and see whether there is a cure or relief, and then he does the prescription. This is the application of the principles of the Four Noble Truths. That there is suffering, the cause, there is an end, and the way to end. Even in the field of conflict resolution and business management, in order to solve problems, first we need to identify that it is a problem and what is the cause, and whether there's a solution So this is the universal application of the Four Noble Truths. And the enlightenment of the Buddha reveals to us the true purpose of our life, which is to overcome suffering through the cultivation of Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila is the restraint speech and body action. It is good conduct and morality. And on the basis of the good conduct, we develop our mind, we develop concentration. And through the concentration, we purify our mind, and then we develop wisdom and insight into the true nature of life. And that is what is called the Noble Eightfold. The right understanding, the right form, the right speech, the right body action, the right livelihood, the right effort, the right mindfulness, and right concentration. When you arrive at this Pusat Buddhist Dhammaduta, Malaysia, what you see here is a squarish building. That squarish building signifies, depicts the Four Noble Truths. And when you look from the top, the bird's-eye view of this center, you will see an octagonal platform on which rests the stupa with the pinnacle. That octagonal platform signifies, depicts the Noble Eightfold Path, the path to end suffering. And the Mahaparinibbana, or the great passing away of the Buddha, that shows us the way how to die peacefully. Unlike ordinary human beings who die with fear, with lots of fear, anxiety, confusion, the Buddha passed away with mindfulness and clear clarity of mind. While lying down in a lion posture on his right hand side, he was able to pitch his mind to the different states of meditative states. The first, second, third, fourth jhana, right? The eighth jhana, and he was able to bring down his mind to the first, second, third, and fourth, and from there he realized the bliss of Nibbana. Of course, we are not able to do that, but at least we know that what the Buddha taught us how to be mindful and have a kind of awareness and clarity when the time comes. So the birth's enlightenment and passing away, the great passing away of the Buddha, must remind us of three things. First, that our actions, karma, shape our present and future. That true happiness lies in overcoming the tendencies of lower egoism, greed, hatred, and delusion. And that death is inevitable, and mindfulness prepares us for it. The life story of the Buddha teaches us to seek liberation and how to put an end to all forms of suffering, avoiding evil, doing good, and purifying our own minds. It is with this in mind that the Buddhist Missionary Society in Malaysia, the Wesak exhibition, has been put together, a small mini exhibition here, to educate our members and Buddhists on the significance of wisdom in the pursuit of a successful and meaningful life. As we celebrate the occasion of Wesak, practice of the Buddha comes for peace, for harmony, and stability in the country and in the world at large. Demo was encouraging such a some motivation. People want to go to the Raja or the Dhammaduta. May the rain fall in season of blessings. Of course, we believe not only the scientific causes of rain, we study the school, the rain, all because of convectional currents and so on, and the spiritual development. We also acknowledge that there are beings. There are beings that can bring our rain and storm. We call them the Nagas, the Chinese reference, the Nagas. So, we pray that rain falls in seasonable time and that there be right conditions for all good fortune. For good fortune to happen, there must be the right conditions. And people